are you? In this video, I'm going to talk about executing on your quotes and how to be more efficient, how to get more out, and how to close more deals, literally just by this strategy with the mindset of running and presenting quotes. So let's dive into it. So you've probably been in a position where you have these big deals on the line and you have these quotes that are already ready to go and you're typing up an email and you've spent 30, 40 minutes. Now you're looking at the email, you're looking at the quote, and you're like, how do I close this deal? How do I close this deal? And you're almost in your head about getting this quote out and not being sure and trying to just make it perfect. And you've already spent 40 minutes and now there's 40 minutes that gone by and you're so almost caught up in the quote that you second guess yourself, and then next thing you know, you send the quote and it's been 2 hours later. So this has happened to me. I've been in those positions where I've sat there and I'm like constantly just thinking like, what's the right thing to say? What value can I bring? I don't know how to sell properly. Like these are things that pop into my head and these kind of doubts. So the thing that I've done, and I'll just share my experience that has helped me close more deals and shoot more shots, is to, even when I have these big deals sitting in front of my desk and they're already quoted, I won't spend more than 10, 15 minutes presenting an email at the most. And this is like thorough, thought out emails to bring up the value, to drive, the wedge, to get the doubt exposed in their other policies or what they don't have, the uncertainty of their current coverage, and to bring up, the value of my product and what's the best reason why it's, going to work with us, and presenting the pricing in the right way. We have templates already put up, built for this, so I really don't spend more, realistically, like 5 or 10 minutes at the most, but presenting a good email on a big product or big policy or quote. So I try to minimize the time on there, and what I do is I get those quotes out. I just get them out, and I move on to another task and trying to fill up my pipeline with another customer and another deal similar to that one, instead of spending all this time thinking like, shoot man, I gotta close that huge trucking company, I gotta close that huge plumbing company. It's just in your head consuming you. Instead of doing that, you move on and trying to find another deal, and that almost detachment from that quote and that deal almost builds in this subconscious, subliminal confidence when you're talking to the customer, that they sense like, this guy just doesn't need my business. He's not desperate for my business, and he's not giving me what a lot of times you may have heard it's called commission breath, and that you're just fishing for the deal. You're almost desperate, and it's just like they can feel and almost smell that you're just after their commission, and instead of really just trying to help them. So I first of all wouldn't put these big deals on a pedestal, because it'll cripple you and it'll put you in the wrong mindset. And you want to just ultimately bring value, as much value as you possibly can, to the customer. Talk about the value of the product and really the exposures that they have. Don't forget to get into the weeds and actually bring up scenarios like, if somebody falls out of the house and breaks a leg or slips in something, you have a worker come over and fall off a ladder and they're injured for the rest of their life. Those injuries, they cost hundreds of thousands, if not potentially millions, if someone, God forbid, dies. We want to make sure you're covered with a good company that's going to have your back. And this company is an A+ rated. It's $4,000 a month. It's a great quality company, and I believe it's the best option for you. Mike, let's get this going for you. That's what I would do. But get the quote out and move on and try to get another deal filled in the pipeline to get you back into the state of just focusing on the next deal, instead of hyper-focused on one deal that's consuming your whole day and ends up actually eliminating the opportunities of other potential quotes and deals. So I hope that makes sense. I know it makes sense in my head. And the point is that you have to have an abundant mindset. Don't get caught up in one deal. So the more you do that, the more you get those quotes out. Don't spend too much time on them, and just keep going, man. Like, that's really what it comes down to, is keep going and trying to get the best deals possible. That's what I'm constantly trying to do, and it's been working well for me. So also don't get hung up on the big deals that you lose, because when you're putting up a lot of shots for big deals, you're going to be losing several deals a month that are $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 deals. if not possibly even more, like depending on where you're at, 100,000. This applies to everybody across the board. Sometimes you need to hear this, and the only thing I think that you can really do on your own time that will improve the efficiency and the mindset on this as well is studying closes, like understanding the different objections. Don't neglect these objections. Like, you're gonna hear, you're gonna hear this, so might as well be prepared for it. I gotta talk to my business partner before I make a decision on this policy. I gotta talk to my wife. Let me double check with her before I go and do this. Let me think about it. I'll get back to you. The price is too high. I don't. It's just too high. These are super common objections that you can easily have the right, and that's just a couple of them. Like there's an arsenal filled with them that you need to be ready for, objections to overcome. But that's just a couple of them that are just so common that if you just learn those 4 right there, those are just off the top of my head. If you just learn those 4, you're already in a significantly better spot to overcome, move them closer to the deal and closing the deal. If you believe in your product and you really believe it's the right thing for them, I mean, that's the number one thing that comes first, is like you really have to be sure and certain about your own deal first and your own product. And then if that's the case and you're trying your best to transfer that certainty to the customer, then and you're not closing the deal, then there's something wrong with what you're saying. So certainty, belief, and that comes first, and then it comes down to the words, and there's certain little words that you can use and strategies that you can use to overcome these objections. So make sure you're dialed in on those, and ultimately keep going. Just keep shooting the quotes. The more shots you shoot, and of course, if it's a knowledge thing where you're like, I don't know the product, I'm not 100% sure what I'm saying about the coverage, that's a different topic. Like, you got to double down and understand your product very, very well before you going out and starting to present it with confidence. So make sure that that's the case. Don't get hung up on that either, because a lot of these products just seem like too good to be true. A lot of times I'll be like, really, it's that easy to insure this company? That like it's a huge company with a business owner? It almost feels wrong sometimes. But as long as the application questions are all right, the numbers are all accurate, everything you're saying is truthful, and it's really what their operations are, and it gets approved by underwriting, you're good to go, man. Like, go for it. Present the quote, and sometimes it feels too good to be true that it gets approved, and you get a little lucky and it gets approved by underwriting, and boom, sell the policy. So that's my thoughts. Keep moving. Get the quotes out there. Be confident in yourself, because they can sense that, and your confidence is key to closing the deal. The only thing between you and the deal is yourself. So you are the only resistance between the deal getting done and the product. So make sure that you're dialed and you're not getting hung up on the deals and thinking about a quote all day. Like, move on and find another quote that's better than that quote while you're thinking about that. So that's all I got. Make sure you do that. If you get any value from this, subscribe, give a thumbs up, ring the bell. Let's try to get this to 100 thumbs up. I really appreciate you guys. It helps me reach more people, and we'll hopefully get some more deals going. Hopefully this helps you close a huge deal, like a $100,000 account that you are dialed in and certain of, and you have that can-do attitude. Very, very important. Don't go into the negative. Always, there's going to be hurdles in closing the deal, but you always have to keep the mind in a can-do attitude. Like, Mike, we can do this. Let's get this going. We can make this work somehow. It's always got to be can-do and authentically. Don't sound cheesy. Don't sound like a sleazeball, because there are definitely insurance agents out there that sound like sleazeballs. You guys know who they are, and I believe they'll probably lose in the long run. So that's just my thoughts. We'll see you guys at the top. Thank you guys, and I hope that brings some value to you. See you soon. Peace.